This has Patriots fans concerned as a big piece of the offensive line has struggled through the first two playoff games and now draws Nik Bonito, one of the best defensive edge rushers in the NFL. Will Campbell speaks out and talks about the upcoming challenge and how he plans to improve upon two lackluster performances at the start of this playoffs. Welcome to Patriots Digest, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show and hope you're having a wonderful day. Lots to get into today, so let's go right into it. Will Campbell has been strugglesome, to say the least, in the first two playoff games of his NFL career. He has allowed a bunch of pressures and has just not been the same since his injury, which is what we're going to talk about in the show. But with that all to be said, he's got to be better. Now, he's had some tough luck getting some very good defensive teams, but it doesn't really stop, and you've got one of the best in Nik Bonito that will come up against them in the AFC Championship game with Denver. But in terms of what Drake Maye has had to go through, he's obviously fumbled the ball a lot because of the pressure, but he also has been sacked 10 times this postseason, 4 of those coming off the side of Will Campbell. And so the question many Patriots fans are asking is, does he deserve to get the start? Does he deserve to be out there when we know that just a couple weeks ago he was on IR, not playing, and it seemed to be a better protection? Now, granted, the teams we were playing were much worse on the defensive line than what we are facing now, but still, you can't have this type of performance in the playoffs with how much is at stake, and that's, of course, the question we're going to answer for you today. Before we get into the rest of today's show, this video is brought to you by Kalshi. And if you download Kalshi with the link in the description and you use code DIGESTNFL, you're going to get $20 when you trade your first 100. Kalshi is the largest prediction market in the United States, and on their platform you can trade yes or no on real-life events such as sports, elections, news, pretty much anything you can trade for on Kalshi. Now, whether you're in California, Texas, Massachusetts, or anywhere across the country, Kalshi is now live in all 50 states. For sports fans, we can trade on game outcomes, player performances, or playoff chances, all on a regulated market where you can cash out at any time. Now, I've shown you the regular trade for the Patriots game. You can also trade on the spread. If you believe the Patriots are going to win by more than a touchdown, a $100 trade will get you $223. It's genuinely the smarter way to use your sports or news knowledge, and you can close positions whenever you want. Again, download Kalshi with the link in the description, and don't forget to use this code DIGESTNFL to get your $20 bonus. Now, as I mentioned, Will Campbell has had a very tough draw throughout the first 3 playoff games, facing some very good defenses. Chris Mason of Mass Live saying, quote, after drawing Khalil Mack and Odafe Oweyu in the wild card round and seeing Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter last weekend, the rookie left tackle will be faced with Nik Bonito and a Denver front that led the NFL with 68 sacks this season, end quote. And for all the talk we've done about the Patriots facing off against top 5 defenses and how Drake Maye is still continuing to put up good numbers and do the right things, what we're missing is the offensive line and how they, to an extent, have done some good things, but in a lot of ways, they've been taken down by these top 5 defenses, and it's really showing here later on in the playoffs. And for Will Campbell, a guy who had such a good regular season, obviously the injury kind of changed that, but it's not exactly what you want to see. In fact, as we can see here, Next Gen Stats talked about Will Campbell, saying, quote, it's been a challenging start to the postseason for Campbell, according to the NFL's Next Gen Stats. The rookie has surrendered 10 pressures and 4 sacks in his first 2 games. Campbell knows going into a ruckus Denver crowd will add some more difficulty to it as well, end quote. And it's true. People talk so much about the quarterback and the communication he has to have with everybody on the field. But the offensive line also has to have communication. They're just a little closer together to each other. So most of the time that makes that easier. But it doesn't make it easier when you have a Denver crowd that is screaming at the top of their lungs. But that is something that Will Campbell, he understands. And he talked about and spoke out about what was going to be upcoming in this game for him. Will Campbell on Nik Bonito said, quote, he's a good player. They've got a bunch of good players across the front. On the back end, linebackers, it's a good defense. Bonito is a talented player. They've got talented players up front. They've created a lot of chaos for teams this season, end quote. If you missed the video after the Patriots won this game this past weekend against the Houston Texans, you always get the Mike Vrable high fives walking into the locker room. Will Campbell walked in with his head down, just shaking his head, saying basically, thank God we got through that game. And immediately Mike Vrable went up to him, patted him on the chest, and tilted his chin, said, hey, keep your head up. You did good. We can fix it. We can get better. And I think that's the perfect culture change. But for Will Campbell, he's got to buy into it and buy into what he was doing in the early part of the season. I mean, let's be honest. This guy was one of the best rookie offensive linemen that was playing. Michael DeVito, a fan side, saying the 22-year-old LSU product has been the highest graded rookie pass protector this season at 76.1. He surrendered just 26 pressures across 449 snaps for a 5.8% pressure rate, which was 10th best in the NFL. This all in the regular season. And now, of course, we talked about the stats. His pressure rate has skyrocketed now as it goes up to 10 pressures and 4 sacks in just the 2 games. It's not what you want to see. It's not something that you like to see. But again, we have to remember this guy was injured in the Cincinnati Bengals game, and it can cause for some concern to look at that and understand. Since then, it hasn't really been the same. He came back in the last week of the season, and he was facing off against the Dolphins team that didn't really have a good edge rusher once they traded away Jalen Phillips. And so you think about the teams that he's faced, he struggled against Myles Garrett and the Browns. He struggled against Max Crosby and the Las Vegas Raiders. When he faces the top-tier talent, he struggled. He struggled. But are you really going to bench him here? Are you really going to take away his spot? It's a first-round pick. I don't want to say this would be a career blow, but if you pull a first-round pick after 2 games in the postseason because of his performance and don't let him play, that really breaks the confidence, and that really breaks down a potential player you're going to have on your roster for a long time. And I think that for the Patriots, we got to have confidence in Will Campbell. You got to have the thought that he's going to go out there and succeed. And I think a lot of Patriots fans do. I think we all feel that Will Campbell can go out there and play the way that we saw him play the first 14 weeks of the season. Play the way we saw him play at LSU. And I think now he's going to be able to do it in Denver, which maybe loud noise is just what he needs. Maybe kind of silencing out everything else is what he needs. And he's not going to be able to hear anything, but it's just him and Nik Bonito ahead of him. So this weekend's going to be a big test for him, and I ask you the question, rate your confidence level in Will Campbell against the Denver Broncos. Obviously, he's not going to face Nik Bonito every snap, but in terms of the entire team, what's your confidence level in Campbell? If you think you are most confident in him, then I want you to scale that as a 10. If you are least confident in him, you think he is going to stink again, you're going to scale it as a 1. 1 for least confident, 10 for most confident. Rate your confidence level in Will Campbell against the Denver Broncos. I'm confident in him. I'm concerned, but I'm confident in him. I really do think he can go out there and be the guy that the Patriots drafted, be the guy the Patriots wanted. But it's no secret what Nik Bonito is, and he is a really good defensive edge rusher. 77.1 on the overall PFF grade, ranking him 22nd amongst 115 edge rushers. He's got 76 pressures, which is 8th amongst the 115 edge rushers. And he plays a lot, 684 snaps. Like, he's going to be out there for a majority of the game. Will Campbell has got to figure out what the best strategy is to delay his time to Drake Maye, because the times that Drake has fumbled, a lot of them have been when he's rearing back to throw it. So if Will Campbell can get him just that extra second, it could really change the difference. I mean, we saw a couple of throws that were nearly made in the Patriots game if it weren't for the ball game batted out of Drake Maye's hand by Will Anderson. That would have been very big games. The Stefon Diggs one stands out most to me. But besides the point, it's going to be a big task, and that's something to watch for, of course, this upcoming Sunday. We appreciate you watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time here on the show. Peace out, guys.